All right. Once again, it's Eric Spivak here for Blockster Media and New Friendship Tech. We are at Korea Blockchain Week 2025. Crazy that we're ending the year still talking crypto, blockchain, real world assets, DeepIn, AI, and all the things. And right now we are with OG. And OG has a lot to do in this space. They're super active, super busy, and if you haven't heard about them, you're about to now. So without further ado, I'd love for you to introduce yourself, what you guys do, where you're at, and where you're going, or what you foresee the future of Web3 and crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Michael. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ZeroG Labs. At ZeroG Labs, we're building the fastest and largest AI layer 1. And so what we're basically doing is we're providing the infrastructure, compute, storage, service marketplace, AI alignment nodes, layer 1, to create AI that is safe, transparent, verifiable, and community-owned as well. And so our future is going into that direction and solving all the difficult infrastructure challenges to make that a possibility. To make the possibility where AI becomes a public good and not just something that a few companies own.
Yeah, so almost democratizing AI in a way and giving people the tools to feel confident, safe, secure when operating. And also, are you doing anything on the zero knowledge side of things, or are you still doing KYC in regards to how people sign up, subscribe, and utilize the tools that you're providing them with?
Yeah, we absolutely use ZK. We don't use ZK, though, on the verification side of AI, because things like ZKML are just much too slow. They have a 1000x overhead, and so if you want to build high-performance AI applications, right now TEs are still the best way to do it. We are working on verification mechanisms that utilize CPU TEs or regular graphics cards, so we may be able to break free from that pretty soon, but it's still a research-based problem. But we use ZK in things like payment processes and payment settlements at the service marketplace layer, as well as on some of the storage layer aspects. Yeah.
And so it sounds like OG is providing a lot of accessibility and inclusion to roles that they normally wouldn't have access to because it's really expensive. And I think the majority of these AI tools that are out there, like, you don't know the source, you don't know the origin, there's a lack of attribution, it's aggregated from everywhere on the internet. Last year I had the CMO of Adobe on stage in Tokyo, and I was blown away with kind of what they had planned. And then also when I was giving pushback to, like, where are you guys sourcing this from? Because as a creative myself and an artist and designer using Photoshop and Illustrator and more, my mind just goes to everything that I'm touching and doing now is leaving that fingerprint that is now being used to create clones of my work. And so I think it's really great to have these trustless systems, but also peace of mind that you are reinforcing a transparent way of doing this. So with that said, I'd be curious, like, what makes you guys different from the competitors that are out there that are giving kind of the same promise, you know?
Well, what you're basically describing is that you're being mined for your data, and you see no benefit from that. And we imagine a world where AI is community-owned. So imagine instead of Adobe creating this model, it's a bunch of your best design friends that have a lot of that data and design works on their computer, and they can contribute their compute and their data to create an expert model around how they would, for example, design specific things. And so then that model can be tokenized. You can go into ZeroG, launch the model, get it tokenized, and then reap the rewards as the model is actually being used, completely open, and you can even have all the attestation from, hey, I've put all the training data on the storage system, you can see, and you can still keep it private if you want, but verifiable, and then see all the different pieces that it went through as the model was being created. And so that's a very different view of the world. On one hand, you've got black box AI that's just collecting as much data as possible from you, and on the other side, you have decentralized AI that's really about putting ownership and the kind of community first.
No, I like how you described it. It's almost like if you can visualize a spine, and from bottom to top or top to bottom, each part of the spine, it's a part of fractional, right? It's you're selling off the different parts, but you're not just selling it off, but you're almost leasing it or allowing it to be used almost like an AI marketplace, right? And as more creators are utilizing the OG tools and toolboxes, they're going to be creating more things that are going to accelerate how certain companies advance. So in a perfect world, do you foresee OG being kind of the go-to marketplace for LLMs and wrap GPTs and custom AI tools that can help any business, whether they're in hospitality and tourism and nightlife, all the way to automotive and transportation? Is that kind of what the bigger picture is?
Yeah, absolutely. We think that AI is going to have a disruptive influence on all businesses over time. And so naturally, we want ZeroG to be the place for that. And so already there's an application that's launched called AIverse, where you can create an AI agent, and that AI agent is in the form of what we call an iNFT. It's a new standard that we've developed called the Intelligent NFT. And it allows you for the first time to input the private keys of an agent into the metadata of the NFT. And so therefore, when you own that NFT, you can say, I now own this agent, and anything that agent produces belongs to me now. If that agent is trading, if that agent has creative like output, like that can all belong to me now. And so AIverse is already going into that direction and becoming that marketplace for that, where you can trade agents as if they, were assets.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I think about what Virtuals is doing, and I look at a bunch of other teams, and I think about how and what I've trained so far, and I basically syndicate my own agents to other companies and other friends and let them try it out. And whether I'm doing base level stuff through Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT or whatever I'm using, right? Or I'm doing more intricate, more advanced, deeper dives to create something to solve a specific problem, I don't really have a way to monetize other people's usage of it. And my resources get drained in the process. So it's not really a mutually beneficial trade, other than I get to see that, it worked for a company at this scale and this many people, and it's built for tough, right? So I would say in doing what you're doing, obviously there's a lot of like intricate box checking and I dotting and T crossing. What would you say is one of the most difficult things that you guys have faced, considering everything's experimental at this point? A lot of things that are being done have never been done before. So what would you say is the biggest form of obstruction or adversity that you've faced building OG?
Yeah, the most difficult is to actually find the right sweet spot between research, engineering, and user needs. So I'll give you one example. We released a paper recently where for the first time we trained a 107 billion parameter model, so very large scale, fully decentralized. People didn't think that was possible before. Like the largest before that was about 40 billion, so it's like 3x bigger than that effectively. And so we had to figure out a lot of difficult things, like how do you solve for grid locks? How do you solve for low bandwidth type of connections? How do you parallelize the communication pathway so you can actually train this model over time? How can you use like consumer grade type of devices in that type of training? So all of those are research questions. And then once it's kind of figured out in research, then how do you productize it? And then also have the right trade-off between like the performance and speed that you need while also staying decentralized enough. And so those trade-offs are actually the toughest, because you're trying to figure out what's the sweet spot and who are you building it for. Yeah.
So end consumer and kind of research and development and a lot of A/B tests / market research involved to just make sure that you're building it and you're building it once and you're building it right, or you're just constantly reiterating. And I think that's kind of the problem where I'm seeing like, we're building on, I don't like building castles on other people's sand. It's something that I warn people about. I did it with social media. I did it during the pandemic with the platform Clubhouse. I helped Twitter launch Twitter Spaces and was their expert in crypto. And I told people then, I'm like, back up your things, download all of your information, get your data. Because at the end of the day, like most people barely remember a single phone number outside of their mother's, right? So, Exactly. So if your social media disappeared today, what does your personal brand look like? So I've always been an advocate about owning your real estate and your digital footprint. And now more so than ever, especially with identity fraud and deep fakes and haptics being used, it's becoming a very dicey world. And I think it's very important for people to be intentional with that footprint or fingerprint that they're leaving behind with any tech that they're using. Especially with malicious intent being behind a lot of it, especially tied to the financial sector, which we're seeing in crypto, unfortunately. But I think it gets destigmatized over time, and people like you guys doing the right thing and really showing and proving like we can handle this type of volume, we can move at this velocity and speed, and we're really trying to empower people, or not even trying, you're actively empowering people to build a better future today or a better tomorrow today,
Absolutely. Yeah, and how do you create, in an age of AI where effectively everything can be deepfaked, how do you create a trust layer so that people can actually say, this is what actually happened and this is not an AI video? Even a kind of simpler example than that, we had our TGE yesterday, and like the moment we TGE, there was like 4 or 5 scam tokens launched on like Solana or other chains, and some of them had like multi-million-dollar market caps. That means people actually bought that, unfortunately, and they fell for a scam. And so, how do you have some level of trust layer so you can say like, this is the right thing that you're looking for? Yeah.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that the future of things is ecosystem and direct to consumer. And that's also why I've always been about ownership and identity and authentication. And during the pandemic, when I was really educating people, I had Clubhouse and Twitter spaces that were pretty much upward to like 10,000 people at the same time listening to me. And I would take them, I'd start them off on reading the Bitcoin white paper, and then I would bring them to MetaMask, then Rainbow, then Trust. I would basically give them all the wallet options. Then I'd bring them to all the metaverses. So they go to Decentralized, CryptoVoxel, Spatial, Somnium, etc. And I bring them to all the marketplaces from OpenSea to Rarible to Super Rare, like literally 360 education, because I look at it like you go into the food court and you get what's in front of you based on presentation typically, and then after that your taste. But when we can spin up projects at the speed of light and there's no authentication or certification attached, it's really, really, really difficult to prevent people from becoming susceptible to, what you just saw. I'm mad that I'm pretty sure the token that I bought yesterday was not the OG allocation that I'm just kidding. No, but it's like, can I yeah, I got 2.4 million of them. The allocation I was offered for this interview, I got scam tokens from the team.
It's like, wait, I can't transfer these tokens. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I can't convert them. Uniswap's not taking. So, I guess as far as like the future of things go with OG, what would you say is like one of the most exciting things that you have coming in the pipeline? And congrats on having a TGE. That's already a good milestone. If it's been successful so far, I'm pretty sure.
It's been really good. So we've. I mean, there's always things that go wrong in a launch, like maybe some market maker operations or some chain level issues that happened or exchanges not getting done in time. But overall, I think it was quite successful. We were very pleased. Everything kind of came in last minute. We ended up getting Upbit and BitThumb listings like the day off as well, on day one. So it was super fun. Actually, the thing that we haven't touched on yet is a couple of days ago, before we did the TGE, we actually launched a digital asset treasury company on the NASDAQ effectively. And so that I'm now an executive chairman of a NASDAQ listed company, which still hasn't sunk in at the moment. And it's a company called ZeroStack. And so it's going to be very exciting to see how that digital asset treasury company interacts with the overall ecosystem and then builds a treasury position off the ZeroG token. And so that's pretty exciting. And then, of course, all the research, technology development, ecosystem development that you're going to see, the types of applications that can only be built on ZeroG chain, you'll see a lot of them like AIverse. And so we're super excited about the future.
It sounds like a very, very cool, unique ecosystem that's almost bulletproof, and the NASDAQ opening is also amazing. And for people that don't know what a TGE is, it's a token generative event or token generated event. So when anybody is saying TGE or maybe they're saying ICO, like initial coin offering, these are opportunities for the public to get access to a piece of the company, right? And maybe that piece gives you some buying power. Maybe that piece gives you some voting or governance. There's different attributes that come along with having a piece of the pie. But typically you want to support projects that you believe in and people and founders and teams that you want to see thrive and win. And hopefully they're products that you already use every day. And as the world gets smaller and the opportunities get bigger, we're going to see more equitable ecosystems in the future of things. And I think OG is definitely one that's on the forefront of a movement. So definitely check them out online. I thank Mike for his time. If you have anything else that you want to say, feel free.
Yeah, just follow me on socials. I generally have some kind of philosophical views about the world, as well as kind of talk about the general ZeroG ecosystem, what we're up to. So it's mostly on X, so Michael H _ numeral ZeroG, so Michael H _ ZeroG. And then follow us on our website too, zerog.ai. So excited to engage with you all.
Sounds good. And that's a wrap. I'm Eric Spivak. We're at Korea Blockchain Week, and we are out. Peace.
Thank you.